Welcome back to the Fuel Yourself audiocast. I'm your host, Shawana Mays, certified holistic life and wellness coach who teaches women how to build the skill of unstoppable follow through when it comes to their goals so that no matter what is happening in their lives, they can finally continue without quitting on themselves again. All right? Because we don't want to do that anymore. We're tired. We're tired of doing that. So, listen, we're back and we're here at episode number 37. And I wanted to really dive into this topic of the foundational 50-50. That's what this episode is called because it is a concept that I have lived for the last almost 12 years of my life while on this journey of evolving and being in this space of growth, like very intentionally because it's fun and I want to be. Okay. So fun for me. So, listen, I can say that living this foundational 50-50 has heightened the most so far. It has heightened for me the most. Let's see. So far in these last 5 years of my life, I want to say, which I'm so glad about because I can see how it has helped me transition and create ease with so many areas of my life that I would otherwise be freaking out in because it hasn't exactly looked like the way that I wanted it to look yet. So that is a big deal for me. And I wanted to share this concept with you. Now, first, let me tell you that this concept of 50-50 was introduced to me by my coach, Stacy Bayman. And then I further dived into this concept with my teacher, Brooke Castillo, after investing in her self coaching scholars program, getting coached within the program, and listening to her Life Coach School podcast. Now, by the way, if you ever find a podcast that speaks to you that you like so much, go on walks daily to keep diving in because if you're open to growth, I promise you you'll have major breakthroughs in your life consistently if you allow yourself to be, open to listening and applying what aligns with where you are in your life. Okay, it can be such good stuff. Okay, so now back to this concept of 50-50. Brooke teaches that life is always going to suck and not suck. And if suck sounds harsh to you, let's just say life is always going to be good and not so good. It always has been that way and it always will be that way. And at first, I did challenge this because I started thinking, like, no, life can also be 75-25, like more good than not so good. And it can also be 25-75, like less good and more not so good, right? Then I got to thinking, kind of like generally speaking, most days are 50-50. And of course, you are going to have those days where the exception will happen, where you will have more of one or the other, right? So for now, let's just rock with the 50-50. So that has been my life, just really understanding this concept so deeply and just accepting it. Because honestly, if I look over my life, no matter what stage of life or season of life I have been in, I can always see that it has always been 50-50. And it makes me laugh because I'm like, whoa. So if life has always been 50-50, why do we as humans have it pounded into our brains that when we go after a goal, it's supposed to be like the purest of perfection when going after said goal? Like, there are not supposed to be any challenges. But when we look at our lives and see that it has always been 50-50, it's always been that way, no matter what. Are you feeling me? Are you with me? I bet if you look over your life, you can see that it's always been 50-50. So just think about that. And just think about it from whatever age you are right now, from the time that you were a kid up until now. There have always been challenges, obstacles, and imperfection, whether you were going after a goal or not going after a goal. Challenges, obstacles, and imperfections still showed up either way. But the moment we go after a goal, we question why these obstacles, and these imperfections still show up as if they haven't been a part of life all these years. Now, listen, I had to go through my own growing pains accepting this. And if you're experiencing any kind of resistance to this information right now, it's normal. I was initially resistant to it also. So I get it. It wasn't until I started, it wasn't until I started to understand like accepting challenges, obstacles, and imperfection. I was like, wait, these things keep happening. So they're supposed to happen because they keep happening. So here's the subtle or maybe not so subtle trick to following through. One simple word: acceptance. Acceptance removes resistance and just lets things be so you can continue. What I have found is using this 50-50 concept as your foundation, your base for any goal, whether it's a relationship goal, a time management goal, a physical health goal, a goal where you just want to clean up your environment around you so that it supports the outcomes you want in your life, a financial goal, a weight goal, a business or career goal, or an emotional and mental goal. Using this 50-50 concept as your foundation will take you further than you ever thought possible, because you'll be able to remove the heaviness that you are used to creating in your brain when challenges, obstacles, and imperfections show up in your life. You'll be thinking more like, yeah, this is supposed to happen. And you won't argue with it. You'll just keep moving forward, which is what we want to do, right? Weight lifted. You're welcome. But I'll tell you a cool story real quick. I was at work this past week and I kept thinking heavily about this concept one day. Couldn't get it off my brain. So there was this cardboard box on the floor, like right next to me. It was full of product. I pulled my marker out and I started to unload what was in my brain. And this is what I wrote: life is 50-50. Half of it is going to suck, and half of it is going to be amazing. This is going to be the case whether you decide to go after changing your life or you decide to spend the rest of your life Netflix and chilling. Your choice is going to determine your experience of life. And what you choose is not going to make you more or less valuable than the next person. You were born valuable and worthy, so don't get it twisted. The only difference is what you decide to choose. Whatever area of your life you decide to change, whether it's your relationships, your physical health, your finances, your career or business, your emotional or mental health, the process to change is still going to be 50-50. Half of the process will suck, half of the process will be amazing. So here's the thing: if you can learn to embrace and accept the concept of 50-50 and allow it to be the foundation for walking through this thing called life, then you can allow yourself to experience the humanness of life and you won't get caught up and stuck and not moving forward when the 50% suckiness shows up. You'll just understand it's supposed to be happening, period. Your favorite mindset transformation expert, Shawana Mays. That is what I wrote on the box. And it caught a few of my coworkers' attention. Now, listen, this was not intentional. I just needed to write it down and get it out of my brain because I had a job to do at work, yeah. But I couldn't do it because my brain was literally exploding with this information. I did write it down and I did put it on a Word document because I'm going to eventually put this note in a reel and share it with the world. Okay. Now, if this episode spoke to you, I will always invite you to go deeper with this work with me, especially if you struggle with following through with your goals and you no longer want to struggle doing that. Let's get on a consultation together and see what's been holding you back from creating your outcomes. And then we can see if we'd also be a good fit to work together long term. You can book a free life and wellness consultation with me through my website at www.royalrenewal.info. For now, I am wishing you a whole lot of peace, a whole lot of ease, and a whole lot of love. And I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.